All right. This is weekly mock draft. Switching up the order again. Shino's got first pick.
With the number one pick of the draft, the Titans take Cam Ward because Will Levis not the answer, and
Damn.
quarterback is a very valuable position.
Yeah. Always solid, always solid. I mean, you know, Cleveland obviously needs game wreckers or game changers, I guess. And they just, they need something to try and build off of, I guess. And one way or another, I think, even though it isn't a recipe that's really worked for them again, maybe they'll finally get to hit. So I think they're just going to go ahead. And I'm not sure if it's the right pick, but I do believe that they'll go ahead and pick Mr. Shador Sanders here.
Wow.
So
Quarterbacks are gone. It's way too early, in my opinion, for Jackson Dart. So I feel like you got to go best player available here. And I feel like that's a dual quarter. As this is the most valuable position that's not named quarterback. It's only 1 year at the position and was amazing at it. And he's going to only get better. Foot surgery might be a problem. Still don't know if he has to get surgery for it or not. But he should be back by training camp. It won't be too big of an injury where it should cause him to fall that much.
So the Patriots, you know what I'm saying? You got to take Travis Hunter here. Just add talent to your roster because, they did sign a corner. So I think this allows Travis Hunter to play both sides of the ball. So, yeah, Travis Hunter's a pick here. Best player available.
yeah, all very solid picks. Moving on, we've got the whatever they're called, the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the teams of all time, definitely. Of course, I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're trending upward. They're trending in a good position right now, but they obviously do need to take some steps forward, in all places, honestly. But I think, honestly, this is a guy who has been slipping a lot recently, and I'm really not sure why. I think he's definitely, probably a top 3 talent in this draft, honestly. And he's someone that I would like to see go pretty high, and I think that he has the potential to do that over in Jacksonville. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Ted McMillan here.
Oh, no way. Took my pick. Actually, didn't we make... I'm pretty sure I made that pick last week too, no? Or I was going to, but...
I picked Mason Graham, I think.
No, because I had that pick. Or...
Did you?
No, never mind. No, I'm tripping. All right, well, that was going to be my pick. As I was going to say, maybe pair him up with some weapons. You already got Brock Bowers. Pair him up with some more weapons. Get Geno Smith the help he needs. But here, maybe you just address your defense here and you bring in Mason Graham. The Raiders' defense isn't very good at all. And you will have Christian Wilkinson come back from injury. Hopefully he's better than he was last year. Pair him up with another great defensive end and really create the identity on that D-line. Now you're going to have 3 really great players on that D-line.
So for the Jets, quarterback situation, they do have their quarterback, so they're definitely not considering a quarterback at 7. So I think here, I say you take O-line here, just because the roster's kind of falling apart. So we built the trenches, and just Justin Fields never really had a good O-line, so bless him up a little bit. Will Campbell's here, but I say change it up a bit. They take Membu because he's athletic, can play anywhere on the O-line. That's not center, I don't think. And yeah, his combine made him rise a lot.
Very, very solid. So, I'll move on to Carolina here. Another intriguing new team that's kind of, started to build up. They've, really been addressing their secondary this offseason, and honestly, this is a trend I like, and I think is going to pay them dividends. So, continuing on that trend, I think they're going to go ahead and grab Mr. Will Johnson here. Best corner in the draft, another prospect who I honestly think is a top 3 player. And, already gone out and grabbed Mo Rig, and they've re-signed J.C. Horn. They signed Michael Jackson. So, Carolina's making a lot of moves in that secondary. And I think that's, a priority that they want to have this offseason. So I think it's a safe bet to say that they will continue to beef it up in this way.
It's hard not to pass. It's hard to pass on Will Johnson too.
Exactly.
Then I'm gonna throw. It's like very far dartboard. I'm gonna throw the dart out there, and seeing this guy's been stock raising every single day. Go Matthew Golden from Texas here to the Saints, bring in another receiver, help out Chris Olave. Like not have to deal with brain injuries no more. They lost Marquise Valdes-Scantling. They're Rashid Shaheed's coming off of a torn ACL. They're probably going to need help at that position. And why not? If you really believe that's a guy, you go out and get him. I mean, he tested way better than the combine than people would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the only right pick here it's my pick, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah. The only right pick here for the Bears is Genty. Like they didn't go out there and spend that much money on the O-line to not try to running back, and especially with Ben Johnson being there, he's gonna want to have a good running back again. So yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, with this, this is probably best case scenario for the 49ers here. They go and get someone who they never thought would be available this late in Will Campbell, and they address probably one of their biggest needs this offseason. That O-line is definitely looking a bit rough in more recent years, and they're about to extend Purdy, so they really, really want to get him protected as they're trying to get him as a franchise QB. So it's kind of a no-brainer pick right there.
I think this one might also be another reach what I'm going to do here, but I feel like Javonte and Sanders doesn't really deter you away from drafting a running back if you really believe that's who it is. Go Marion Hampton here. There's been hearing a lot of talks of him not even falling out of the top 20 now. And it's like Pierce said last time, it's a very similar draft to Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs went hella early when they thought Jahmyr Gibbs might not even touch the first.
Yeah. I think if you see your guy, go get him. Like don't draft defensively. Don't draft based on what you think other people expect you to do. Draft, for the best player that fits into your scheme. So, like that a lot. Moving on.
It's just seen out there.
Oh wait, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm pretty sure for the Dolphins, the past mock drafts we drafted a tackle and then
I think it was Nicky Mawari.
Safety, Mawari. Well, I feel like in our past drafts, this guy fell a lot, and he's still a good prospect. I feel like he had his pro day, so I think here you take Malachi Starks. Just get his name up there higher on the board, and it addresses a team that just lost their safeties.
Yes, sir. Honestly, for the Colts here, I think they might have to move a bit, especially with how free agency's played out. I honestly think they move a bit differently here into free agency. Originally, I would think of them like going tight end here, but honestly, after losing, Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, two starting pieces on that really strong Colts O-line, obviously they're going to be really a lot weaker, and they haven't, shown that they're filling those holes in free agency. So I think they're going to go out here and draft Tyler Booker here out of Alabama. Go ahead and beef up that interior O-line after they've lost two great pieces there. So I think it'd be in all their new quarterback battles best favor to do something like this.
It's interesting to tell Booker, like his stock had raised so much before the combine, had a mediocre combine, and now he's starting to fall back into the second. But because this is a pretty weak guard class, if you don't consider the tackles that will go move back into guard, like Grace Zabel, maybe even Will Campbell, people will move into guard.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's why this class is so weird, because it's like it almost projects to be a weak, inside the guard class, like out of purely guards. But you see a lot of people are talking about all these tackle guys moving inside. Even some of the later round tackles I've seen, all projected to move into guard. So I guess lots of short arms this class, but I think, honestly, I think a lot of conclusions are being jumped to. I would like to see a lot of these guys go out and try to play tackle, at least in the league. I don't think arm length has to be an end-all, be-all. And I think that, some of these guys can still succeed. But I do think that overall the class can be pretty deep when it comes down to it.
I think here, I'm going to try to go with a player that we've let fall a lot in recent mock drafts. Jalen Walker from Georgia. Elite bend, elite power from him. Maybe it will be a little undersized to be a true edge. I think he's probably only 6'1", 6'2". But he can come in and play linebacker, play off ball. He played amazing in those Texas games, showing you he has the capability to go with some of the best players in the country. And this potential, and he meets two position needs here for the Falcons. They haven't been able to address their pass rush in a long time. And maybe this is a way you do it with maybe getting a best of both worlds scenario. We also get an elite linebacker that can play off ball.
All right, so for the Cardinals, I'm leaning towards secondary here. Just because they did address their pass rush during free agency, and their offense all right. But I think here you take Imawari, because he's a dog. He can play multiple positions. He'll address the secondary. You got a veteran safety there that can teach him. And it's just, that's a player I'd want to have on my roster.
Yeah. The Bengals, so the approach the Bengals have taken is obviously they want to beat teams by just going out and having the best offense in the world. And obviously, you can't just purely do that. They're going to have to address the defense. And I think the way that they do that is through the draft. Now, the Bengals historically have not been great drafters, especially in some of those early rounds. You haven't seen a lot of, those high value picks kind of pay dividends, at least on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's especially reflected in some of their, secondary changes. I actually would have gone and taken Emenwari here. But honestly, I think there's a perfect opportunity to take advantage of someone who I think has also been falling in a lot of our mock drafts and, is someone who still has great ability and is really skilled, on-ball player and can make a lot of plays overall for secondary and needs. So I'm going to go ahead and draft Malachi Starks here. Back-to-back safety picks. Wait. Bro, is this another? Where did you guys take him? You guys took him at 13? Damn. Well, anyway, that was actually me saying Jahadae Barron.
Jaheed Barron?
Yeah. Bro, are you fucking kidding me? I swear, I don't know why. That was the one pick I might not have watched, too. Because my brother, called to me.
Right, this puts me in an interesting spot. The Seahawks just want to go get Cooper Kupp. Not sure. Getting a slot receiver when you already have an elite one. I'm not sure on that. I would really like to go Tyler Warren here. I feel like your tight end room isn't that great. I like the games I watched. Sam Darnold relied a lot on his tight ends in Minnesota, so I feel like that would be a good pick. But I feel like Sam Darnold saw how much pressure having a bad O line it did when he was at New York. Where I feel like it's just best to secure the O line. Going Kelvin Banks here, give him the bet like all the time in the world to succeed. As I feel like as a passer he's great, but it's just when those blitzes and he starts seeing goals, that's when he really starts to shell up. Like in that Rams game, getting hit nonstop, and that's when he really started shell up.
It's my pick.
Yeah.
All right, the Buccaneers. Well, I mean, we make the same pick every week, so I'm gonna change it up a little bit. And edge is something they want to address, so I'm gonna take Shamar Stewart here, because his stock definitely grew with the combine and him just being a freak athlete. And he's at 19, so you take him.
Yep, and that leaves a great opportunity here for the Broncos to address one of their most pressing needs, obviously. One of the better players in the draft, definitely top 10, and lucky that they've fallen this far. So we go ahead and get Mr. Tyler Warren here. Yes, sir. So I think that's a great pick for the Broncos. It'll really help both with some inline blocking and giving another receiving threat, out of the slot there and more inside. And also outside, Tyler Warren's someone who's lined up all over in the past. And, I think he can continue to do that.
I forgot who said this, but I feel like I heard tight ends is probably one of the most difficult positions as a rookie. So by having Evan Ingram, that allows you to develop Tyler Warren for these next 2 years. So by this third year, he's an elite tight end. So I really like that pick. Maybe people wouldn't like it because you already got Evan Ingram. Maybe you'd like to see a receiver go here. I don't think there's a running back worthy of going there. Maybe Henderson, if you really, really like him. But even then, I feel like that's too high. I like the Warren pick, though, because worst case scenario, he's your tight end, and you just move Evan Ingram out to a receiver 2 position.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think I think the Broncos ran a decent amount of 2 tight end sets. Like, I think Sean Payton likes that heavy personnel, lots of play action in that offense and those maybe shorter routes. So I think it could excel in that area.
It's never bad having elite players.
It's like better take some hill build.
Yeah, exactly.
Our Raiders here, you already know what we got to take. They had dinner with them. He ran a 4.37. Jalen Milroe. So, I don't think he can go that high. I do like the prospect of Milroe maybe going to one of these teams here, but I feel like this is interesting for the Steelers. I kind of like the prospect of Mecca Boogie bringing a slot receiver to pair up with the other 2. Luther Burden also fills that role. All running backs are gone. Well, 2. Now I'll say all the running backs. There's still a lot of good backs in this draft. But I feel like what we do here is beef up that O-line. Bring in Josh Simons. Even if he's not healthy immediately, you can still develop him. And be able to run the ball elitely. And just take a back in the second round. Or that quarterback if you think one's worthy of that pick.
Yes, sir. I like that a lot, honestly. I think, he's shown, and he's got that elite size, those intangibles. So, honestly, I just think that people have been, kind of losing sight of him as a prospect just because of how much he's been hurt or because he got hurt. But, we've seen a lot of players be able to come out of college and play great, even off of injury.
All right, the Chargers pick. I think we made this pick last week, but I think it's going to be hard for Harbaugh to pass on. One of his recruited players, part of his national championship run, they take Loveland here. Because, I don't want to say they have, elite weapons for Justin Herbert and for your quarterback. It's just tight end's a quarterback's best friend, so they take Loveland here.
This is you, Pierce.
Packers, they're in a weird spot. I think they have a lot of holes in their roster that they need to fill that they haven't necessarily done a great job of doing so far this offseason. I think that's, a great opportunity to do right here. So, the two things they need to address most are the wide receiver position and then their pass rush situation. Um, I think personally, you know, yeah, watching Packers this year, they kind of had a turnstile of receivers. There's no real dominant guy out there. Even people like Jaden Reed, or people thought that he was the best, he would have weeks where he would just completely disappear. And honestly, it wasn't a great. It just wasn't a great situation. And so, I think honestly, just in terms of getting someone out there who has uh, high floor, that is just consistent pass catcher, someone who's going to elevate your offense from day one, who's proven in locker rooms, and I think it's just someone who can be that like baseline contributor that you can maybe not having a higher ceiling than some of these guys in class, but honestly, I think the Packers are in a place where they just need those little more consistent pieces to put them over the edge, not kind of taking taking a little bit more of a gamble and trying to go for that big boomer bust prospect. So with that, I'm taking Emeka Egbuka here. I think that he was a pillar of consistency over at Ohio State. He's the all-time leader in receptions over there, and he just has the ability, maybe not as high of a ceiling as some of the other receivers in this class, but I think his floor is exactly what the Packers need right now.
That brings us on to the Vikings here, where a lot of the D line has fallen here. So I feel like that's probably what the pick will be here. Is really take your pick at this point between Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan. They're probably gonna go with the pick with the most upside here, Walter Nolan. I think that Ole Miss line was really great. But you've had some character concerns with him, apparently. Don't know how much of it is true or not. I think he's a great athlete. I think this is probably one of the best potential wise players in the draft, as his athleticism for his size is just so great.
Yeah, great pick. I think they definitely, that D line's honestly building up to be pretty formidable. Jonathan Grenard, and I'd like to see Dallas Turner get some more opportunities this year on that team. I think he has the ability to, break out and make some impact on that team too. So I like that pick there.
Well, man, this draft just hasn't gone good for the Texans so far. The majority of the talent here is on the D line, and they kind of just gave Danielle Hunter 36.
Are you on the PC?
You definitely address the offensive side of the ball, and just because a lot of the offensive linemen are gone, you take Luther Burden here. Just get talent around here and just hope some offensive linemen fall.
Luther Burden, I feel like he's being dropped a lot. I don't really know why. I mean, I know he had a bad year at Missouri, but I mean, that's how a lot of these prospects are. You'll see that one pop year, and that's what is their ceiling, where that's his floor. But I think that he's probably one of the better receivers in this class. He's definitely a top 3 receiver. I think for me personally, he might be my favorite receiver in the draft class. And if you can get him at 25, I think that's a major steal.
Also, just based on the other circumstances, I think it was the best pick for the Texans.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree. I think that's, honestly, taking the best player available kind of thing, and he will elevate the offense regardless. So moving on, we've got the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, a team that they are also kind of on the cusp there, shown a lot of upside. Sean McVay, obviously, really talented coach, and has just been able to get the most out of his players. And I think that's something that they'll continue to do. So, I think just being able to maybe fill in some stuff that they might have lost earlier on, like in free agency, and just shuffling some stuff around. I would like them to go ahead and take Greg Zabel here. Yeah, so he's someone that they can just move around, pick and pop in that offensive line, and can give that added blocking boost.
I think this next pick here might not seem a position of need, but we saw how elite that 2024 Ravens defense was when they had two elite linebackers, and I feel like the difference between this player and everybody else right now is pretty great. I would go Jaheed Campbell here from Bama. If you can get him at pick 27, that's like almost a Kyle Hamilton situation, but even like a greater extreme of you're getting a player, like a really good player that fell to you.
All right, so for the Lions, do quite a few things because you got a pretty complete roster, I feel like. But here, there's a lot of good D-line pieces. I think you take Michael Williams here just because he's just a really good player.
Yeah.
That'll just get to the quarterback, make plays.
Well, maybe they want to go with someone who doesn't have an injury history, which I could see them being a concern for, seeing how their last season went.
That's true.
Most definitely.
It's just a really good player, man.
Washington, they've lost a lot of two really important pieces in their D line, being Jonathan Allen and Dante Fowler Jr. So they're obviously depleted in that area, both in that pass rush and that run defending area. So honestly, I'm going ahead. I'm just taking a player, someone who maybe has gone a bit under the radar in more recent mock drafts, but is very deserving of that first round pick, and is someone who's gonna elevate that defense, that front four, honestly, and they definitely need it after their off season so far, which has not been bad by any means, but just the point of need that they need to address, obviously, is D-line. So I'm going to go ahead and get Kenneth Grant out of Michigan here.
I was praying you made that pick. I was like, we can't even fall out of the first round 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
No, I drafted him the first week.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Here, the Bills. You're gonna need to shore up that defense, and I feel like what we didn't see enough was that pass rush. I think you bring in Mike Green here, who's maybe one of the best pass rushers in the class. He led the nation in sacks. He might have been doing that against not the highest competition you would like to see, but I feel like in that Ohio State game and at the Senior Bowl, he proved that he can compete with these great players that he's gonna see constantly in the NFL. And I feel like he has a lead bend. Maybe some character concerns here, but I feel like we haven't seen much of that throughout, and I feel like we would have heard more about it now if it was a true concern. And I feel like being able to get a talent at him at pick 30 would be a great pick for the Bills.
Yes, sir. I agree.
For the Chiefs, you address your O-line by drafting Ken Scatterboo because he's like getting a little chunky now. Isn't the Oregon tackle still here?
Josh Conley, Jr., yeah.
Yeah, I think you draft Josh Conley because you need to help that O-line, and a bunch of your O-line's gone. So, yeah, Scatterboo's still an option there.
Yes, sir. And then going to the Eagles, I mean, honestly, this is pretty amazing that's fallen this far. And, with the loss of Josh Sweat and the loss of Milton Williams, they still have a lot of D-line depth, but they're going to want to keep building that up. Going ahead and taking one of the best pure pass rushers in this class, being James Pierce Jr. So,
and it happens again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say to the extreme, though. of the other ones that they gone.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those more boomer bust prospects.
Yeah.
So honestly, he could be that amazing. That he could be that home run, signature Eagles pick. But he could also be, someone who is really gadgety and doesn't even see that much play time. So I think he's a great 32nd overall pick.
Yeah.
And has a lot of opportunity, a lot of upside. But we
Fits
shall
that
see.
team good too. He fits that team good too.
Yes, sir.
He's got Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter inside.
So yeah, this is the first round mock draft here. Real quick though, I want to talk about how trash PFF is.
Even though we just used their
And for some reason, Auburn's only winning by 2 points. I'm gonna need them to lock in, but
bro, that is crazy. If they actually get upset, that'd be the
Bro, that's
worst.
gonna mess with all my brackets, bro.
like I was saying though, PFF. I mean, they love to look at the stats that nobody else looks at, that insider things. So tell me how a quarterback that was top 3 in deep ball, had top 3 in 20+ yard completions, doesn't have the arm to use Matthew Golden. I don't understand that. I also don't understand how your defensive player of the year is ranked below other defensive players this season. I don't understand that either. Like, you would have some random slot corner that took 5 snaps, ranked ahead of PS2. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, PFF arbitrary grading system, stupid thing, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Now they just D1, Bo Nix, and PS2 haters.
Yeah, I think they're anti-Broncos.
I think so too.
Alright, well, that was Weekly Madra. Appreciate you guys for listening.
Yep, thank you for everyone for tuning in.
And please
Oh,
donate
yeah.
so we can get grades.
Nope.